I mean, when you talk about Rutgers, like it's literally a tale that's like as old as time.
All things are looking up for this women's Rutgers basketball team.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Brady, but I do recognize the fact that he's, one of the greatest to ever play football.
It was unbelievable to watch.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keeping Score with Laney and Dylan, a podcast show dedicated to bringing analysis of Rutgers sports and sports around the country. I'm Laney.
And I'm Dylan.
And in today's episode, we welcome Jack and Ellis to recap the Rutgers men's basketball defeat at Iowa, the women's basketball win at Northwestern, and Super Bowl 55 that took place between the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. So let's get right into it. Let's start talking about men's basketball, the absolute horrendous defeat that we just witnessed when they played Iowa. All we've seen from this team really lately is just they keep getting beat at the free throw line. They're not making the things that they should be making. Three-pointers, hard for them. They're really kind of struggling. It was a game that we could have won if we made baskets that we should have been making. Dylan, how did you feel about the game?
I mean, when you talk about Rutgers, like it's literally a tale that's like as old as time. Like if you shoot well, like you can win a basketball game. Like you play good defense, but like the starting lineup, 1 for 3, 4 for 9, 3 from 11, 5 for 12. Like that's not good enough. The starting lineup made 1 3. The whole team made 6 threes. And I understand that there was definitely a disparity in like the foul calls, but like you're in the Big Ten. Like that's not an excuse. You have to beat the teams that are put in front of you. And Rutgers did not do that. Obviously, having Miles out in the first minute and seeing Mamadou in at all gave me anxiety. But, yeah. Rutgers will go as far as their offense gets them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to that and say sometimes in college basketball especially, it's not about what team you play, it's about when you play that team. And last night was a really good team at a really bad time for Rutgers. Iowa was fully healthy and they're at full strength. Like for the first time, like a couple games, they're riding like a 4-game losing streak. And, for the first time, they're finally healthy. And Rutgers just kind of ran into a buzzsaw and they couldn't stop Joe Wieskamp at all.
Yeah, I mean
he was the main catalyst for them. I mean, Luka did his thing too, but Joe Wieskamp was the difference in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw what this Rutgers team could do in their first game when they only lost by 2 and they kind of blew the game with free throws at the end. But I think the real takeaway from this game is if you can't hit your open shots, you're not going to win a game. It's simple, fundamental basketball. And I watched the game, and this Rutgers team it wasn't like they're moving the ball fine on offense and they were getting the shots open, but just nothing was hitting. I mean, their starting win streak when they were 7-1 back. Oh, it feels like a long time. And only a month or half ago, they were shooting 39% from 3. And now they're shooting, I think, like 28%. And this game was 21%. And that's only because Jacob Young hit like 3 threes at the end, went 3 for 4 for like the last 2 minutes. If it wasn't for that, they would have been shooting at around 11% from the 3-point line. And that's just not going to cut it against a very good team like Iowa. Plus the foul trouble, of course, didn't help them. Miles Johnson needs to stay out of foul trouble because, I mean, he's tremendously talented. But, I mean, again, it comes down to simply their defense was good. They just Rutgers starts hitting their shots, and they haven't been as of late. And because of that, they've struggled.
Yeah, to me, it's so discouraging because, we finally make it back into the rankings, and then we just have right after a game where it's just so frustrating to watch. And I know Gio after the game was kind of talking about how they're in good spirits and how one game doesn't really make or break their season. But in a season with COVID going on where any game could be canceled at any point, I feel like just every game really counts. If they want to make the tournament, I feel like they really just have to be on their A game every single night. And I don't think last night was doing it, but
I'll say good defense wins basketball. And there is one thing I would like to end maybe on like a happier note. And this is a big if this Rutgers team is shooting well, I think they can contest pretty much anyone other than maybe the Baylor, Michigan, and like the 3 top teams, 2 of the 3 top teams. But they have to be shooting well because their defense is there, the rebounding with his heart is there. I just think they need to start shooting well again, and then I think they can compete against most teams in the NCAA.
Yeah, I will say about the rest of the road, going into the tournament. Our biggest challenge left is at Michigan. That's going to be an extremely tough game. Doesn't matter if Michigan's had a month off because of COVID. Michigan's a really solid team. They're third ranked in the country. Outside of that, I mean, we have Indiana, who we already beat. We have at Minnesota, who we already beat, which is probably our second toughest game left. I mean, we have a bunch of winnable games that we can go into the tournament on a pretty high note, and I think we could make the tournament based off of those games. Everything's out in front of us still. This game, it sucks. We kind of ran into a bustle, like I said, but everything's still looking up for this team, in my opinion.
What about you, Dylan? You think we'll have a shot at making the tournament this year?
Oh yeah. Oh, we'd have to we'd have to lose every game to not make the tournament. This is the easiest part of their schedule too. Other than the Michigan game, we play Northwestern, I'm not sure who else we play, but Michigan is our only ranked opponent left. So Rutgers should make the tournament. Even if they would have to play the way they did in the middle of their 5-game losing streak to not make it, and I don't see that happening again.
Yeah, I mean, one player that comes to mind that's got to play a bit better is Ron Harper Jr. I mean, he was off of that blistering pace before Christmas when he was just lighting Illinois up. He lit up Ohio State, even though we lost that game. I mean, he was going off, and he had that sprained ankle, and since then, I mean, the efficiency's just been down, especially from the 3-point line. I have full faith that he can get it back together. I know he's a good player. I'm going to ride with Ron Harper shooting the ball every single time. But I think for us to reach our true potential, like you also were saying, Ellis, with the defensive side, I think Ron Harper Jr. unlocking it and being that consistent scorer is really going to help us on the offensive side.
Well, we can switch things over to the women's team. I know that they've had some troubles with COVID recently. Just kind of started getting back into playing. Period. They did win their last game against Northwestern, which is, I believe, yes, it was Northwestern, which is good to see. They put up pretty good numbers against a ranked team. Going into it, I know the tournament might be a little hard to think about just because they missed so many games, but their starters are doing what they have to do. They're winning games. How are we feeling about the women's basketball team right now?
I gotta say, after watching this full game, commentating it, they looked good. The Rutgers team looked good. Tyler Singleton, someone I definitely want to point out. She had a career high 17 points tonight. Impressive. Takia Mack, she had 26 last game. She had a double-double this game. She had 16 and 13. Diamond Johnson hit 4 threes. This team is very good. They have a lot of scoring options, and they play an inherently defensively sound style because of Coach Vivian Stringer. And yeah, this team is, I don't know if it's a trend in women's basketball, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the starters all played over 30 minutes on both teams. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem come tournament time. That might be normal, but the Rutgers team look good today. I don't know, there's not a lot of teams in the Big Ten that I would put over this Rutgers team.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always hard to judge a basketball team with COVID. They miss a whole month of the season almost, and it's very hard to judge a team like that based on how they played before and now. But this was a positive coming out of COVID, 2 straight wins, a positive start. I mean, they are 3-3, I believe, in Big Ten play, which isn't great, but they haven't lost any games outside of Big Ten play, which is nice to see. At least they're winning what they have to do. As Dylan said, Harbon, they've got a lot of scoring options. I think that's a strength of this team. I think sometimes if the ball's in someone's hands, you're always going to be they can get me a bucket, and I think that's a great attribute to have in a team. And I just think this is a very strong team going forward and can make the tournament and can possibly make somewhat of a splash in it.
It does say a lot about a team, and it says a lot about a coach when you can come off an entire month not playing in one of the toughest leagues in college basketball and rattle off 2 wins, including a ranked road win. That says a lot about a team, and it says a lot about a coach. I know Vivian Stringer has a huge reputation of being a phenomenal coach, and it shows definitely with these past 2 games. I mean, these are not easy wins. Number 21 Northwestern is not an easy win on the road. But I don't care if there's any fans in the stands. That's hard to do. And Dylan, to your point with the minutes, I was pretty surprised too. I mean, I'm looking at the box score now. They had three players play 40 minutes flat, like they played the entire game, and Diamond Johnson played 39 minutes. Now, I don't know how that would fare. I don't know if they're going to get gassed out or not towards the end of the season, the March Madness, if they make it there. But it'll be an interesting thing to keep looking at. But I have faith in Vivian Stringer. That tells me a lot about a coach when you win 2 straight after not playing a month.
I'm looking at I'm trying to see if the play time is sort of a trend that really just kind of goes, because I am like you all and I'm not really sure, but it does look pretty consistent. So I'm looking at their game against Nebraska a couple weeks ago, and it seems to be pretty consistent. We have multiple players, majority of their starters, only one of their starters didn't play over 25 minutes. So I guess it's just sort of a women's basketball thing on both sides of both sides. Nebraska had the same sort of thing going on as well. So I guess it's just a girl thing. Who knows? But if you guys want, we can start talking about the Super Bowl. I know the Super Bowl.
I was going to add one quick point about the women's team. And Jack mentioned it, this is a ranked team on the road. And not only that, but they've won 3 in a row and 7 of the last 8, this Northwestern team. So this is their best, definitely their most impressive win of the season. And of course, when your most impressive win of the season, you're going to be riding a high usually. And things are looking up for this women's Rutgers basketball team.
All right. So we can go ahead and start talking about the Super Bowl. I know the Super Bowl was not all that well, at least in my opinion, the Super Bowl was not all that exciting. I didn't think it was the best game. Didn't even like the halftime show that much. Brady got another ring. Whatever, good for him. I personally am not a big Brady fan. Again, that could just be me being a really bitter Jets fan, but even seeing him win on a team that is not the Patriots sucks. But I will say we got really good content out of him in the celebrations. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Brady let loose. He got lost in the sauce. He really had a hard time walking after celebrating, which I found to be very interesting because Brady is always just a very stoic person. So to see him let loose, maybe Florida changed him. He's turning into a Florida man. But how'd y'all feel about the Super Bowl?
I thought the best part of the Super Bowl was Brady throwing the trophy in the to another boat to Rob Gronkowski after.
Yes.
No, but the Chiefs had both of their offensive tackles missing. The Bucs did what they needed to do, which was send pressure, make Mahomes uncomfortable. Even making Mahomes uncomfortable, he's still, everyone's going to talk about the pass where he was just in the air and threw a touchdown, but it wasn't a touchdown because it hit the guy in the face mask. But this game was literally Patrick Mahomes versus the world. Good for Brady. And Brady had an efficient game, like a Brady-esque game to win the Super Bowl. But that Super Bowl was because of Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett and Devin White and Todd Bowles and that Buccaneer defense.
Yeah, I'll say Brady definitely deserved the MVP just because you can't give it to 11 defensive guys and you can't give it to a defensive coordinator. Todd Bowles coached very, very well. I will say about their defense, I was reading about their game plan and listening about their game plan. They ran a cover 2 defense. And the way to be a cover 2 defense is to basically throw the ball over the middle or start running the ball. And Kansas City didn't do either of that. And basically, Todd Bowles basically said that Andy Reid's 5 offensive linemen can't beat his defensive front of 4 people. And they didn't blitz the entire game, and they just ran merciless at Patrick Mahomes all game. And it was unbelievable to watch because one thing that I thought going into this game was that if Tampa Bay had a chance at winning this game, they had to win the turnover battle. And even then, it would be a close game and a shootout. I really didn't think that the Chiefs offense would just do absolutely nothing all game and not put a touchdown on the board. I mean, it was crazy. I personally enjoyed it. Because I just did not see it coming. And they won the turnover battle, but like I said, I just did not expect a blowout.
Yeah, I'm also a big Brady hater, but I mean, at some point you can't deny I'm a Giants fan, but still you can't deny, I don't dislike Brady as a person, as everything, but you can't deny his winning ways and his excellence in football. And it's unfortunate that you can't do it, but I mean, it's really impressive how he turned, it wasn't fully him, but it definitely a big part of him turning this team around from a 7-9 team to Super Bowl winners. But I did say, not obviously this podcast, but just talking around that, I think this Bucs defense had a good shot to stop the. Now by stop the Chiefs, I thought I was talking about like maybe 24 points, 17 maybe on a good day, not 9, but stop the Chiefs because, well, one thing Bulls does really good is he didn't blitz, and Patrick Mahomes was running around for 497 yards just in the backfield, just running around almost every play, and that was without a blitz. You're not going to win a game like that. Plus, something that the Bucs had that the Bills actually tried this in their AFC matchup, but they didn't have the fast linebackers, and their safeties are really good, but they didn't have the speed to compete with Hill and Kelsey. But here, what made the Bucs defense so good is Levante David and Devin White are two of the fastest linebackers in the NFL. They can keep up with the middle, so they can take away a good chunk of that middle. And with Mahomes on his bike, even though he made some fantastic throws, just like in the weirdest angles of all time, it just was never happening. All credit, unfortunately, I have to say this, but all credit to the Bucs. Brady played a very efficient game. Chiefs defense very undisciplined, kind of surprising, but I mean, unfortunately for me and I feel like a lot of the Brady haters out there, Brady gets his 7th, which is unfortunate. But I did like the Super Bowl just as like a defensive masterclass. And I know Laney did not like the halftime show, but I'm a big fan of the weekend, so I like the halftime show. I thought it was a good halftime, not the best, but I give it a solid 8 out of 10. So I just want to stick that in there as well.
Look, the halftime show wasn't that bad. I think this mic was a little low. Also, your point about Brady, look, personally, I'm not a huge fan of Brady, but I do recognize the fact that he's, one of the greatest to ever play football, So it's hard for me to say it, but yeah, he's great at what he does. And he doesn't seem like he's planning on stopping anytime soon. Do you guys think, how many more seasons do you guys think this man has in him?
I think he wants to pass Belichick. Belichick has 8 rings. Brady has 7 now. First of all, a player alone getting to 7 rings is ridiculous. Winning 5 Super Bowl MVPs is also ridiculous. But
I believe he has more Super Bowl wins than any other franchise.
Yeah, he has more Super Bowl wins than any team. The graphic they showed at the end of the Super Bowl was Tom Brady, Pittsburgh Steelers, New England Patriots. So it was basically Tom Brady, Pittsburgh Steelers, Tom Brady, which is amazing. I think he's gonna win at least one more. I really do. I think he's gonna play another 3 or 4 years.
I don't know. I mean, I've also been, as a Brady hater, I've kind of doubted him in the past, but now I don't know, because you want to say he can't play at 45. There's no way, but maybe there is a way. I think while they are favorites to win the Super Bowl, you saw the Chiefs this year. It is hard. I mean, it hasn't been done since Brady in 2002, 2003, going back to back in the Super Bowl. So, I don't know if they'll win another ring, but I mean, they're certainly in contention. And since the team, people don't realize about this Bucs team because they see Brady, they maybe see Ndamukong Suh. Oh wow, they've got 2 old heads. This team is incredibly young. So as long as Brady, I mean, I thought this year, especially, the back half of the season he was elite. But even like his first few games, he was good. And if he just stays on that almost elite playing level, this Bucs team they'll be contenders for a long time. Whether he wins another ring, it's hard to say, but I'm not going to be the one saying he won't. I'm not making that mistake again.
Yeah, I feel like I got a bit of a neutral head compared to what you guys are saying about how you guys don't like Brady. Because, personally, he's never hurt me because I'm a Cowboys fan. And, we've been extremely successful, as you guys know, over the past, my entire lifetime, basically. So, it's amazing. It's amazing what he does. He's 43, and I honestly could see him going 3 more years. I wouldn't put money on him going back-to-back in the Super Bowl just because I hear every single year that the Super Bowl champions are going to go back-to-back. I heard the Chiefs were going to win 5 in a row. So, the NFL is so unpredictable. Injuries could derail an entire season. Look at the San Francisco 49ers. Trades happen. Things in games happen that completely shift an entire game. So, there's so many things in the NFL that you just can't predict compared to other sports like the NBA. So, it's gonna be a wild ride with Brady in Tampa. If he wants to come to the Cowboys, though, be my guest, because we're forcing our franchise quarterback out the back door right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one last point to make is something that's going in Brady's favor, as it just always seems to does, is the NFC is a mess. I mean, you got the Seahawks who are having trouble with the Russell Wilson currently. I wouldn't really consider them contenders on Buccaneers. Yes, the Packers are on the Buccaneers level of contenders, and I think the Rams are too. But other than the Rams, Packers, and Buccaneers, the Saints have got to cut half their players because they're 90. Nope, they restructured Drew Brees' contract, so now they're only 78 million over the cap. So the NFC, unlike the AFC, is a complete mess. And unfortunately, I think there's only NFL is very unpredictable. But as of now, as of talking now, which I don't like to do, but here I am doing, you only got two. You got two teams only. I feel like that can compete with the Bucs.
You're right about the NFC being a mess. NFC East, you saw that last year. The NFC South, Drew Brees, like you said, and the Saints, their cap situation is a mess. We don't even know if Drew Brees is going to be back. I mean, you got the Bucs in the NFC South. The NFC North, the Packers, but they're going to have to get let go of Aaron Jones, their running back. The NFC West, the Rams are there with Stafford, and the Seahawks are there with Russ. And like I said before, the 49ers are there. If they can get fully healthy, they were in the Super Bowl the year before. So, the NFC's wide open. It's not as good as the AFC, but anything could happen in the NFL.
The NFL is definitely a very interesting topic. Obviously now we have looking towards the draft. Is it too early? Is it not too early? Whatever. We don't have to debate that now. Yeah, Dylan, do you want to maybe do a little outro?
Yeah, I could do that. All right. And that's all for today. Make sure to join us next time on Keeping Score for more sports updates. And make sure to follow the Daily Targum on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more content.